Hey everybody, it's Friday night and that means it's Pop Astro Live. Tonight, as you can tell from my choice of generic background, I am not coming live from Anglesey where I usually broadcast from. I am in Chorley and I am house sitting. So let's wait for a couple of people to join the broadcast. Now, when I did my test transmission earlier, I was more pixelated than CFAX. So if anybody is watching this, could you just tell me, how's my bandwidth doing? Someone's giving me a thumbs up. Am I coming across loud and clear or boxy and pixelated? What do you think? Just let me know. I really hope that we won't have to abandon the broadcast because of poor bandwidth problems. So just let me know that I'm coming through and we will start the show. So, oh my gosh, have you seen the comet yet? I've only managed to see it once, and that was, I think, last Saturday night from Cheshire when I was back home, picking up my space blouse, seeing my mum for the first time in months. Audio, okay, bit pixely. I just don't know what to do about that, Paul. Thank you for letting me know, though. We'll continue. It might pick up. I assume it's because all the kids are at home on the internet. Oh my God, they all finished school today and it's raining outside. So they're all just going to be like on the gadgets like that. Probably audio is fine, but I'm rather pixelated. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. What do we do about pixelation? I'm just going to carry on. It's probably right now is the most people have ever been on the internet in history. They've finished school, it's raining, and the kids can all be online. I'm sorry about the poor bandwidth. I'm just going to carry on. Maybe as all the little kids stop watching CBeebies online, they might go to bed and the image quality might improve. I'm right in the middle of a place. I'm in a little town called Adlington. Usually I broadcast from the communal Wi-Fi on a caravan park and it's absolutely fine. This is the first time I've actually had a normal based, try reducing the resolution. Just don't know how to do that. It's on the lowest resolution it is, unfortunately. Oh well, I shall continue. I shall be big and bright and try not to move too much. Yeah, okay. Lovely to see you. Thank you, Claire. It's lovely to see me as well. How are you? It would be even better to see the comet, wouldn't it? So this is Pop Astro Live. This is our weekly show that we do. We have got some cracking guests for you. Now, usually I do my little plug the mug song, but I'm out on the road and I didn't bring my mug with me because that would probably be quite neurotic, taking a mug that you only use once a week traveling with you. But you can see our fine selection of Pop Astro merchandise on popastro.com. We've upgraded how many t-shirts we've got. We've upgraded our mug selection. There are some very punny mugs for you to take your pick from. So pick the one that you want and get with it, because we all love astronomy merchandise, don't we? We're all like, I'm a devil for my astronomy merchandise. So this is your show. It's wonderful when you join in. So please make new friends in the chat room. Please ask us questions. We've got astronomers waiting online to answer your questions. Now, the first thing we're going to do tonight is mention, obviously, the comet, but we're going to have an imaging competition or a picture competition. So please send your entries. I will post the address that you need to send I think it's competition at popastro.com. Robin just confirmed that that is the competition address to win one of our very sought after Popastro mugs. I was going to say it's the most sought after substance in the universe. Bit like dark matter. Our mugs are highly sought after. So please send us your beautiful comet photographs. If it's anything, if your Facebook is anything like mine, every single time you open it, you get thousands of comet images, and they're all so striking and beautiful. Even the ones taken on smartphones are looking good. Good to see you, Vicky Jameson. Who's Vicky Jameson? I'm Vicky Duncalf. I think hello. What's he saying? Oh, yeah, thank you. So Paul has plugged the mug. Go to that link there. We can hear you clearly. Thank you very much, Ashley. That's great. So that is great. Okay, so on tonight's show, We have got Professor Robert Walsh of the International Astronomical Union. He is going to do a great interview. I was chatting with him last week, and they get up to some absolutely fantastic outreach stuff. So we're going to be talking to him about outreach and the comet. We've also got Mary McIntyre, one of our all-time favourites. She is going to be talking comet imaging and comets, both for the beginner and for the more advanced astronomer as well. And finally, our very special guest this evening, it's Lucie Green, Chief Stargazer. Yes. Aha. So then, there's a bright comet in our skies, just in case you didn't know. Have you been hiding under a rock? Which will be easily visible during July in the evening and early morning sky. It's actually quite easy to spot. It's one of those wonderful objects that you kind of look to the north, northeast, and it is there. So you can find Comet C 2020 F3 NEOWISE, to give it its Sunday name, low in the northwestern sky, after about 11 p.m. British summertime when the sky gets dark, and it rises higher in the sky after about 1 a.m. in the north until the sky brightens after 3 a.m. So currently it's got a fantastic tail which sticks, I'd say, at about that angle up from the horizon, and it should be remaining visible throughout July, although it will get fainter but higher in the sky. So the object does remain quite small, and I can highly recommend admiring its dazzling beauty with binoculars for the best view. So it is the brightest comet to be seen since the very brief appearance of Comet McNaught in 2007. I don't know why I don't remember that. What was I doing in 2007? For some reason, I didn't see that. I do remember Hyakutake and Hale-Bopp, though. It follows the disappointment of two comets that we had earlier this year, right at the start of lockdown, if you remember, which broke up as they neared the sun. But Comet NEOWISE has survived its perihelion passage as it got closest to the sun on the 3rd of July. I'm sure I saw an image of it breaking up the other day, but maybe that was just someone had knocked the camera and got a wobble on the picture. So it is getting closer to the Earth, although the predictions that its brightness will fade as it gets furthest from the sun. So on the 23rd of July, it's going to be our close encounter with the comet, but it's still going to be 100 million kilometers from us. So absolutely no risk of collision. You can come out of your bunker. So you can photograph the comet without special equipment, because I've seen smartphone images of it, but do use a good camera on a telephoto setting. So we're going to be talking more about that shortly. So let's see what's happening on the comments. There we go. Oh, we've got Robert just in the waiting room. We're just going to run through a couple of more things before we grab Robert on. So a couple of weeks ago, if you're a regular to the show, you will know that we have played, what was it now? Crater or Potato, Comet or Bonnet. And tonight, this wasn't my idea. I wash my hands of all responsibility of this. It's Paul Sutherland's fault. We're playing Crockery or Rockery. What the heck can that be? It's either IKEA crockery or asteroids. Which one do you think it is? So we're going to play one now. What do you think it is? Upplaga. 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 Is it IKEA crockery, or is it the name of a rather Swedish sounding asteroid? Upplaga. Write your answer in the comments, and if you get it right, you will win a 3,000 piece Comet commemorative tea set. Okay, so first of all, we are now going to go to Robert Walsh from the IAU. Robert, we are coming across to you in 3, in 2, in 1. Here he is. Hey, Robert.
Hello. How you doing? You all right? Can you hear me okay?
Hey. Yeah, let's just get you set up nice here. Here he is. I've got you a banner. I made you a banner.
That's all very professional. I'm really happy with that. Thank you very much indeed, Vicky.
You are now official. How are you, Robert? And whereabouts are you this evening?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm sitting in my home, just like everyone else, I suppose. But I live in Preston, in Lancashire, where I work at the University of Central Lancashire. I'm in the Jeremiah Horrocks Institute for Astrophysics and Mathematics. That's where I lecture, where I do research, and of course where I do a lot of public engagement activity here in Lancashire.
Great. Now, I've got a little role play here for you. Can you guess what this incident was? I want to take you back to a well-known career disciplinary at the IAU. Are you ready for it?
Go ahead, yeah.
Get in the office now. God, you're so small, aren't you? I'm afraid we're going to have to demote you. Why? Because you've not cleared the neighbourhood around your orbit. I don't care if there'll be an uproar. And yes, this means there will be a pay cut. What could that have been?
Well, okay, well, you put me on the spot here. I assume are you talking about Pluto, really? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, poor little thing was demoted. I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, that's one of the IAU's decisions, yes.
Yeah, well, that's part of what the International Astronomical Union does, really. As a worldwide organization, it has the responsibility for the official naming and the designation of celestial bodies, as well as actually classifying together where they are. But of course, it's not just a few people in a room. That decision was made as a vote at a General Assembly, and many astronomers were involved in that, and some agreed and some didn't. But of course, that's what science is all about. Not everybody agrees with everything that you do. But yeah, one of the things the International Astronomical Union does is actually give names to celestial bodies, to features on planets and moons, for example, and names things like comets and other bodies. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to take that responsibility. The International Astronomical Union does.
Well, how do we get a comet named after, well, more specifically me? What would I have to do to get a comet named after me?
Well, it's funny actually, because there is various bodies, within the IAU, various groups that do this. You have to be very careful. As our conversation goes on, we've had a recent opportunity for young people in the UK to name an exoplanet, and you're not allowed to name things often with people that are alive or that are connected with political associations or military connotations, that sort of idea. But there are a lot of small asteroids in the asteroid belt, for example, named after characters in Shakespeare. There are craters on the moon named after famous scientists from the past, from countries, of course, all across the world. So there is certain designations, and maybe if you keep going, Vicky, and you this really takes off, then maybe you'll get a something named after you, because they do name certain things after individuals, and certain stars and other things. There are certain connections with individuals and people, but they tend to be particularly large sort of objects and things on celestial surfaces around other names which have legendary associations with them.
Because you mentioned actually about the school on the Isle of Man who got to name the exoplanets. Tell us more about that. Yeah,
well, this last year, 2019, was the 100-year celebration, the centenary of the International Astronomical Union. And therefore, they set a whole range of outreach activities across the world, and one of which was for countries to have an opportunity to name an exoplanet and its parent or host star. So the UK had the opportunity to do this, and after a competition, which we had over 1,000 names, 10,000 young people involved in that across the UK, it came down to a public vote, and the public vote in November of last year picked names from the was it the Crookie Berry, I think it was. Let me see. I'll actually get this right, so I don't actually
just while
get
you
the wrong name.
While you look that up, I'm just going to give our audience a call to action now. Everybody who is watching this, please hit the share button so everybody can see the fantastic comet special which is coming up. So much great information to help you spot the comet, to help you image the comet. And if everybody hits share, this audience will go exponentially viral, and it really helps the SPA, the Society for Popular Astronomy, get visible on people's Facebook. And it also helps to build our membership, which is what it's all about. So yes, as you were saying.
No, it's brilliant, and yeah, go ahead, press the buttons and get people involved.
Share. Sharing is caring.
That's what it is. It was Cronky Berry School in the Isle of Man. They came up with two names, and actually they were Manx names. They came up with the name Gloas, which is Manx for shine, that was the star, and Crunlach, which is Manx for orbit. So that was described how the exoplanet was traveling around its host star, and you had to come up with names so that when we find other planets around that particular star, then we can actually give them other Manx names. You can get a range of names that are associated, a theme really that goes on. So they were very excited about that, and it was a wonderful opportunity to highlight what the International Astronomical Union can actually do.
Now, why wouldn't you want the Manx name in the comets?
Well, there could be actually. Again, I think there's the.
It was a joke. It was actually a joke. Because you've got no tail.
Oh, of course. That's true. Actually, that's true. I should have thought about that as well. You're too quick for me, actually, Vicky. It is Friday night.
I've just had half a cup of cold coffee that I left on the sideboard, so my brain is going quick tonight.
You're okay. Actually, you're okay. Maybe I should have joined you, really.
Yeah, let's just see who we've got on. Hello, we have got listen, Sandra, one of our new members. She is a Mars fiend, and she said, "Hi everybody, this is the best hour of the week." How's that for an ego boost, Robert?
That's very good, actually. Yeah, I'll take that. Yep, thank you. Hello, Sandra.
And thank you, Michael. Shared to the 31 members of Moot Holt Observatory. You need more members. Everybody get onto Moot Holt Observatory. Right, okay, let's continue with the interview. So, okay, just bear with me. My window was closed.
That's okay.
Why does Word shuffle around all the different windows like a pack of playing cards when you're trying to find the document? Haven't we sorted that out yet?
Just to keep you on your toes. Yep.
So, happy birthday to the IAU, 100 years last year.
Yeah, 1919 was quite an interesting year, wasn't it? Really, there were so many anniversaries. The 50th anniversary of the moon landings, of course. The 100th anniversary for the confirmation of relativity. Einstein's theory of relativity was proved by the eclipse observations by Eddington. But also, it was that year that the International Astronomical Union was set up, and it's risen from a small number of countries, which the UK was one of the founding members, to now over, I think it's like 11,600 individual members across the world, over 107 countries involved in the IAU, and it really has grown to an organization to try and reach out and do a whole range of, I suppose, international collaboration across the science of astronomy, and really it's all its aspects. Vicky, that's research, communication, education, development, and all working within an international context. So there was a lot to celebrate in 2019.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Well, happy birthday. So what does 2020 hold on the future?
Well, yeah, it's building upon all that. And part of the feeling for the IAU was, well, we've done this 100 years. What is the next 100 years lie for us? And there was aspects of what we think is going to happen. Upon saying that, when we met at the end of last year and did the final celebrations for the IAU, 2020 has not turned out as everybody thought it actually would. But it is around the aspects of commercialization of space. You can see that traveling to and more than likely within that period of time, manned expeditions to back onto the moon and potentially onto Mars, of course, as well as actually the instruments that we have, like the James Webb Telescope, really reaching into the far reaches of the universe in ways that we've never thought possible. Think about what's happened in the last 20, 30, 40 years of astronomy. Think of what the next 100 years could actually be. But it certainly was a year of celebration and a year of legacy, and a good foundation to build on for what's going to happen next, really.
Well, many happy 100 years ahead of you, Robert. Thank you so much for coming on. But before you go, we've got to play the game. So you have to guess. So last week it was Comet or Bonnet. Is it a comet or is it a hat? The week before it was crater or potato. That was tricky. There's 3 trillion comets on the moon and 4,000 varieties of potato. This one has been devised by one of our members. It's called Rockery or Crockery. It's a list of ceramics or tableware currently available from IKEA, together with a list of very obscure asteroid names. Are you ready, Robert?
Well, yeah, go for it. I can't say I'll be very good at this, but let's give it a go.
I would just hazard a guess. I doubt you're going to know a single one unless you're some kind of really weird IKEA fiend.
That's possible if you see my house, but yeah.
Oh, right, is it nice?
No, I don't know about that. Like an IKEA showroom, probably. But go for it. Hit me with it, Vicky. Go on.
Okay. Is it rockery or is it crockery? Calunge.
Calunge. I'm going to say crockery. I think it's IKEA.
It's an asteroid. Right, okay. Vardera. beginning with a V. Vardera. Crockery or rockery?
Okay. But I'm going to have to go for crockery, I think, really, because I got the last
You got it right.
You see.
Well done.
Okay.
Offantligged. It must be hard work ordering asteroids from IKEA because they're hard to pronounce. Yeah. Offantligged.
Oh, Offantligged. Well, that probably, I think that's probably an asteroid. I would think that's an asteroid. Okay.
Come on.
I'm back in IKEA again. Yeah.
Gnizvard. I like words. Gnizvard. Asteroid, rockery or crockery?
I'm going to go for asteroid for that one, actually.
Yes, you got that right.
You see. You see.
How
many of these are there?
There's loads. There's loads.
Okay, keep going. I don't mind. It challenges my my Swedish, but there we go on. Yep.
I just realised that when I'm trying to comprehend something, I tip my head on the side like a dog.
That's okay. Actually, I'm sure there's some psychological sort of you're making the brain work in one way or another.
Also, probably my good ear as well. My good eye. Strimmig.
Strimmig. That's crockery.
Well done. Well done. Well done. We're going to do you Hamra.
Rockery.
Wrong.
Oh.
That is an asteroid. I can't vouch for its location. And Skagel, asteroid, rockery or crockery?
I think that's rockery. That's another asteroid.
Well done. That is also the name of Robin Skagel of the SPA, and I'm very glad that you didn't get that one wrong.
Oh, that's very good.
You got a big score of some right and some wrong. Well done.
Well, it's story of my life again. Story of my life.
All right, we are now going to cut across to Mary McIntyre. Robert, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for kind of demystifying the IAU, because until I interviewed you, I did not really have a clue what you were, other than this kind of shadowy kind of organization. But I love the fact that you do so much outreach and such good work in developing countries. Keep up the amazing work.
Thank you very much indeed. Nice to see you, Vicky. All the best.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. That was fun, wasn't it? Rockery or crockery? Let's see what we've got here. Shared to the 203 members of South East Kent AS Outreach Group. Thank you so much, Ashley. That means a lot to us. Can't wait to hear about the comet, Victoria. It's incoming now. What is that on your picture? It's a massive rabbit. I thought it was an owl or a blanket. That is a big old rabbit. So thank you very much. Keep on sharing this video, because we have got comet information coming up right now. So let's have a quick look here. Okay, so if you are looking in the sky at the minute, you're also going to be having great views of Jupiter and Saturn as well. They are the two really bright things that tend to travel relatively horizontal to one another across the horizon after sunset. So they don't really tend to reach that high. Jupiter has just had its opposition a couple of days ago, so it will be visible for all of a short summer night. Now, if you've got a small telescope like I have, you will see a really good image of Jupiter. It's fantastic at the minute. It's going to be shining at magnitude -2.8, so it will be obvious and worth seeking out. Although the low elevation means you're looking through more atmosphere and it's not quite as easy to see or to image. Saturn is looking amazing at the minute, and it's kind of, because its rings do tilt depending on where we are, and it's kind of like, it's coming towards us like that. The rings are tilting. They're really, really bright. And I did look at it with some binoculars the other night, and I could definitely see that it wasn't quite a circle, a sphere, a disc. There you go. So there is a feast in the sky, and also we've got Venus in the early mornings as well. So the sky is just a delight. I was going to say a chocolate box of jewelry, of gems, but that's mixing metaphors. And if you've got diamonds in your Thorntons, well, would you complain if you got a diamond ring in your Thorntons? Maybe you wouldn't. Okay, so coming on now, we have got one of my favorite astronomers. Not only does she wear the best dresses and has taught me some amazing artwork over the years when I've met her and she's given me sketching tutorials, but she is just one of the best imagers there is. And we are now going to talk to Mary McIntyre. We're going to start with the very basics about what a comet actually is, and then we're going to go into the more technical details. So if you're trying to image that comet and tonight is going to be the night and it's clear where you are, this is the information that you definitely need to listen to. Mary, coming to you in 3, 2, 1. Here she is. Yeah, look at your backdrop. It's that's a great backdrop, Mary.
It's an exhibition tablecloth, but obviously there's no exhibitions right now, so it's been repurposed as a wall hanging.
I could have done with one of them, but I don't have my mugshot taken.
Even turn my light down a bit.
I've got an awesome. Have you seen my blouse? Look at that for a blouse. How's your blouse, Mary? Oh, look at that. War of the Blouses. Dun, dun, dun. Diddling, diddling. So, where are you this evening, Mary?
I'm at home, as many people are, in my stepdaughter's bedroom because it's cool in here. It's been boiling again today, so.
You need one of these, Mary? Have you seen my fan?
Yes,
my neck fan?
I want one.
Oh, it's so lovely. Yeah, they're only 15 quid. Look at that. Ah, and it's got funky groovy lights on it. I mean, I'm not going to wear it now, but you turn one that way and one that way. There you go. Neck fan on Amazon. and they're very powerful, and I just have it wearing away there, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm so cool. Have you? I was about to ask, have you seen the comet? But judging by your Flickr album, yes, you have.
Only twice, actually. We've not been very lucky with the weather, but there was one of those nights I was up all night, didn't go to bed at all. It was very, very much worth staying up for. So, what are your
chances of seeing it this evening or this weekend, do you think, Mary?
Quite slim until the early hours of Monday, but I'm still setting cameras up, hoping to get a glance, just a little patch of cloud that splits apart, just gives you a tiny bit of sky to look through. You never know.
You never know. You never know.
It's always worth trying.
So, Mary, let us start with the very basics, because the SPA is so accessible. We've got to remember we've got some very amateur and very new astronomers. So welcome if this is your first foray into the world of the Society for Popular Astronomy. Mary, tell us what a comet is. Write it down at its very most basic.
Basically, comets are left over from the formation of the solar system, but whereas like asteroids tend to be in between Mars and Jupiter's orbit in the asteroid belt, these are kind of more icy and dusty, and they reside either in the Kuiper belt or further out in the Oort cloud. They're two very different distances away, and they're quite often described as dirty snowballs, but actually that's not quite right. They're more like icy dirt balls. They're very dusty. There's a lot of dust and volatiles.
What do you think? What's the difference between a dirty snowball and an icy dirt ball? Both sound like
more dust. They're dustier than a dirty snowball. Kind of suggests a bit of soil and a lot of water, but they're not quite like that. They're a bit more dusty. I heard a great analogy. It's like deep fried ice cream. Basically, the outside of them forms like a hard crust, and then the inside is all these kind of trapped volatiles, gases, dust, and they kind of look very inert, and they've got a really low kind of albedo, or very little light gets reflected off them until they work their way in towards the sun. And once they interact with the sun's energy, those volatiles sublime. If you remember in school chemistry, liquids or gases will go solid, liquid, gas. That's like water boiling kind of thing. But what happens out in space is that the solids turn to gas straight away. And because these things are moving, they tend to be moving in a rotating period. As those gases kind of outgas, it forms this coma around the outside of the comet. So that's what then starts to shine a bit brighter. And when you get a rare occasion where you get a really good one like we've got at the moment, you really see a dust tail. And what's happening there is the energy from the sun is interacting with the dust that's already been outgassed. But because it's comets' tails can be so huge. NEOWISE's tail is actually 16 million kilometers long in real terms. It's about 5 kilometers in diameter, but the tail is about 16 million kilometers in length. So all of that dust that's further away from the actual coma is interacting in a different way. So the tail starts to then form this curved shape, and they're just so beautiful. That's why the tail doesn't always look straight. If it's a bit of a, you know, a boring comet, then the tail will be a bit straight, but the one like we've got now, you can really see the curve on the tail.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, so I've never taken a picture of anything other than with my phone, but you get up to some very, very technical imaging. So would you maybe start, this is for the more advanced now. We've got your big camera, your big lens, your tripod. You know what you're doing. This is not no snappy snaps we're going to talk about.
Shall I share my screen and see if I can...
we can do it.
Okay, it says it might crash, but we'll see. Let me see if I can share my PowerPoint screen. Here we go. Try that. So I don't have... Can you see my comet picture?
Let's go. Yeah, we can. I think we'll go full screen. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that's... Okay. Oh, my God, that's so nice, Mary.
The great thing about this comet is because it's very low in the sky and it's very bright, you can get a picture of it I mean, we don't have many landmarks in the field behind our house, but if you live near a castle or a nice landmark, you can get a picture of this comet kind of in the background. And because it's so bright, you can actually do this. This is a 2-second shot with a 50mm lens. So it's really unusual to be able to get wide field pictures of a comet that's as bright as this. Now my cameras, all three of them are Canon 1100Ds, which is one of the cheapest SLRs on the market. And actually some iPhones have probably got a better quality image than I've taken with this camera. If I go on to this one, this is just zoomed in with a 300mm lens. And this again is just a 2-second exposure. Usually when I image comets, I'm taking lots and lots of exposures and stacking them together. And at the end of it, you get a tiny green blob. But this, in a one single 2-second exposure, you're kind of seeing all this tail. Now, as you mentioned earlier, because this is now on its way towards Earth, but away from the sun, it is starting to fade. It hasn't broken up. The picture you saw the other day was somebody had kicked their tripod and misunderstood their picture. So it's intact at the moment. Yeah, we saw that. It caused quite the discussion on Comet Watch, but but yeah, it is still pretty visible naked eye. It's about I can't actually remember what the current magnitude is because I haven't seen it for a week because it's just not been visible. The great thing to look out for as well at the moment, this is a zoomed in one, just a little bit closer when it got dark. And obviously as the sky darkens, the comet is going to look brighter. So if you can stay up really late, the view will be better. Now, because the comet is in the north, as soon as I heard that this comet was going to be visible in the north, my brain was going, noctilucent clouds and comet, noctilucent clouds and comet. And that's what I got last week. And I genuinely was in tears when this happened. I was just so happy. So we are still in noctilucent cloud season. It's been very quiet for the past few days. There haven't been any visible from the UK as far as I'm aware. I tend to hog the webcams at night that are all around Europe, even if I can't see anything from Oxford because of cloud. And there hasn't been anything, but that doesn't mean there won't be more displays because we are still only in mid-July. And because the comet is low in the north, if we do get a display of noctilucent clouds, particularly if you live in the north of the UK, the noctilucent clouds generally reach a higher altitude in your sky as you're looking at them. They're all the same altitude, obviously they're around the North Pole, but because they're so high up on the edge of space, you can see them from the south of England. But in the north, the noctilucent clouds were kind of reaching this level, and some pictures from the Czech Republic had the comet actually inside the noctilucent clouds. Which I know, I'm too far away for that. Now, the other day...
That genuinely made me rub my thighs then.
Yeah, Vic Reeves style.
Yeah.
If you take lots of pictures, you don't need a fancy telescope mount or anything for this. This was just done on a static tripod. My tripod cost me £12, so it's not a very expensive one. And I just took lots and lots of 5-second shots, just one after the other. And then I used Deep Sky Stacker to stack them. And so that builds up a longer exposure time that you can't really do that well because of the twilight sky. So even if your mount tracks, once you get towards dawn, you just can't do 2-minute exposures because the sky is too pale. But what this has shown up is that you can just faintly see it here. And if you invert it on the image, you can see the ion tail. That's different from the dust tail. You can see the dust tail is curving here, like I explained before, because of the radiation pressure. Now, when the comet it's got loads of cracks and it outgasses in various different random places. And when those gases are out in the atmosphere and interact with the solar wind, it can then ionize them, and you end up with an ionization tail, which is moving off in a different direction. So it's just absolutely beautiful. And this was when I did this for you, Vicky, because I saw that picture you shared today where somebody had stacked the comet at equal periods throughout the whole night. Yeah. So this was just my 2-second exposures, and I took a shot every 15 seconds, but I only stacked every 15th shot because the sky doesn't move that quickly in wide field. So this is 12 images all stacked together with the comet in different positions showing how it moved over a 40-minute period. So it is in the north, but it is moving all the time. And it is, I'll stop sharing the screen now. It is in the north, but it's moving kind of westward. Has my screen gone? Yeah. So it's moving kind of more towards the west, and it's going to be a lot easier to find now because it's going to be just to the bottom right of the plough, and most people that aren't experienced in astronomy know how to find the plough, or the Big Dipper as it's called in America. And the comet is kind of heading closer and closer to the underneath of that through this month, and as the month goes on, it's going to get higher.
It's going to shoot a hole in the bottom of that saucepan, Mary.
It is.
What good is a leaky pan? Oh.
So, I mean, we've literally not had a comet like this since the 1990s. So please go out and try and see this if you can. And if you have binoculars, just look at it because it is absolutely stunning. And we've been waiting for this for years. We haven't had anything like this since 1997. And who knows when we'll get another one. So you've just got to stay up all night and just look.
Yes, Mary, yeah. Hopefully I'm going to go off hunting sometime over the weekend. Okay, now there's only one reason that you're on here, and that's to play Rockery or Crockery, Mary.
I feel the pressure here because I got full marks with Crater and Potato, and I've been in IKEA once in my entire life, so I'm not going to know these.
IKEA is, I'm not going to say what IKEA is, but you will come out and you will argue with your partner. It's just like an argument factory in IKEA. And just nothing, for me, just nothing but tea lights. I wasted 5 hours of my life buying tea lights. Okay, this one's a bit tougher, this is. Okay. Rockery or crockery? Is it IKEA tableware or is it an asteroid? Smack closer.
Oh, that's got to be crockery.
Oh,
really?
You got it wrong. It does sound like something delicious from IKEA, though. Maybe something in their canteen.
Yeah, it does sound like food.
This is the first time I've ever seen a word that begins with a double P. Plagger. I guess it's just plagger.
I'll go for asteroid.
Oh, no, Mary. Oh, wait. No. What did you say first? Did you say asteroid? It's crockery.
Crockery. Oh, no, I said asteroid, yeah.
Oh, Mary, honestly, you're letting the astronomy world down here. And also the tableware world. Vardagen, crockery or rockery?
Crockery.
Well done, she got one right. Yay. Tufter, rockery or crockery?
Rockery.
Well done, now she's motoring on through. Agazva. Rockery or crockery, Mary? Is it an asteroid or is it a bowl?
It's crockery, I think.
Wrong!
No.
It's rockery. I'm getting mixed up myself here. And one final one, because I like it. Fargrick.
Fargrick. I'll go for crockery again.
You're going to eat your dinner off a fargrick. You are completely right. Well done, Mary. Well done, Mary. So thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to bring Lucy is here with us. I will bring Lucy onto the stream because it's three-way. Lucy, coming to you in 3, 2, 1. Introducing the SPA Chief Stargazer. Hi.
Good evening.
Hi. Hello, Lucy. It's really good to see you.
Likewise. Good quiz there. I was playing along as you were doing it.
Practicing for your turn.
We've got 20 for you, Lucy.
Oh dear.
So I thought I'd introduce you to Mary. Always do a bit of networking.
We have actually met, but I doubt you'd remember.
We have. I remember. Yeah. There's always an opportunity for us to meet at Astrofest and different Astro societies and so on, different SPA events.
Yeah, I've
Very
seen you
good.
quite a few times on the circuit, as they say.
Yeah.
On the astronomy circuit. Mary, it's been a pleasure. And
Thank you.
Out of everybody, I hope you get to see the comet, because I know just how emotionally attached you are to this sky stuff. It's just wonderful. Your enthusiasm is just so beautiful.
I'm quite sad.
Hey, look at this. Three female astronomers. That's good, isn't it? That's good for diversity,
awesome.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, Mary,
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Hi, Lucie. Thank you so much for coming on this evening. Whereabouts are you this evening then?
So I'm just outside of Guildford in Surrey, and talking about the comet, we've got a clear sky. I just was looking out the window earlier, so I know, fingers crossed. I saw it on Sunday last week, and then it's been cloudy every night since. So hopefully, and it'll be a bit higher in the sky now, so better placed.
Very, very good. Oh, fingers crossed you're going to get to see it tonight. It's just going to be so beautiful. I think my next chance is going to be probably after the weekend, so that's a real shame. So I've got to salute you first, because you are chief stargazer.
I'll take that. Yeah, I don't often get saluted. Oh, that makes me sit up straight.
It is mandatory now that if you're a member of the SPA and you spot Lucie, you must salute. Very good, very good. What does being chief stargazer of the Society for Popular Astronomy mean, Lucie?
So it means I'm really here to just help support people getting into astronomy. So it's for people of all ages, but we do, I think, probably have more younger people who are just sort of getting into astronomy, giving advice on what to look out for in the sky, what kind of equipment you can use, and then also lots of activities. We have a great piece in the magazine which gets you doing astronomy, so maybe with your own telescopes, but maybe with things like the Faulkes telescopes as well. So lots of activities to do. It's all about being part of a community, getting out there, being active.
Marvelous. So how long does this role last for then?
Do you know, I never asked that question. Maybe forever. The time flies past. So for me, it's a really fun thing to do, and I always like meeting people in the community, and it gives me a good opportunity to connect and to just share information. So I'm always keen to hear from young stargazers, see any photos they've taken, any drawings they've made, hear stories about what they've been up to. So just encourage people to keep in touch.
So when you're not being saluted by everybody as you walk down the street, what's your day job?
My day job is as a space scientist, and I focus on studying the sun. So I'm pretty lucky in that I get to do astronomy in the daytime. I'm not very good at staying up all night. I tried that when I was younger, and then I realized that actually we've got a star on our doorstep that needs a lot of study. So I switched to do that. So I work at a university, UCL. And we have a space science department, and in that department there's people like me doing research, but there's also people who are building kit that goes into space. So it's a hugely exciting area to work in. And recently, you may have seen, or yesterday in fact, some of our kit that we built for the Solar Orbiter mission published its first images so that everybody could see them. So yesterday was an amazing day, and at UCL we were involved in 2 of the telescopes and instruments on board the Solar Orbiter spacecraft. So Solar Orbiter,
was that those images that were the very close-up images of the sun?
That's right. So Solar Orbiter is Europe's mission to get close to the sun. So it's a huge first for us, a hugely challenging mission. And the images that were released yesterday that showed the atmosphere of the sun, the surface of the sun, were taken at 77 million kilometers from the surface of the sun. So that sounds like a very large number, but actually the distance between the sun and the earth is 150 million kilometers. So that's about halfway between the sun and the earth. And that's the first time that we've had close-up images of the sun. And the great thing about Solar Orbiter is not only does it take pictures of the sun from that distance, but it's also able to measure all the emissions that are coming off of the sun, heading out into the solar system as they stream over the spacecraft. So the really exciting thing is that we will be connecting what we measure around the spacecraft, the gases, magnetic fields, and we'll be measuring them and then connecting them up to where they come from on the sun for the first time. And then more than that also, we're going to get a new view of the sun, because normally we take pictures of the sun from the plane that the planets are in. So the Earth is in that plane and we're looking at the sun, but solar orbiter is going to be in an orbit that brings it out of that plane, and we'll start to be able to see the poles of the sun. It's going to do an orbit that's at an inclination to the plane of the planets. So we're going to have literally a totally new perspective on our local star. And we always make big discoveries when we look at things in a new way. And we've got lots of questions that we want to answer about how the sun works as a star, how these emissions propagate out into the solar system, where they come from, and how they affect us here on Earth and other planets in the solar system. So it's very exciting. And what's great is that this is just the first glimpse that was released yesterday. The best is yet to come as we get closer and closer still.
So when Cassini discovered the poles of Saturn, and it's got that hexagonal storm there, are you expecting to find anything curious at the top on the crown of the sun?
Yeah, you're right. We'll be looking at the crown of the sun. I think what you're saying about Saturn and that hexagonal pattern is all coming from gas flows, from fluid flows, so discovering how the gases of Saturn are moving. And that is exactly what we want to do with the sun. We want to see how the gases of the sun are moving at the poles. And for people who are familiar with looking at the sun, maybe you've got a solar telescope with a specialist filter on, or you project an image of the sun, you'll know that there are times when the sun has lots of spots on the surface, and then times when these spots disappear. And the sun has this cycle: active times when it's spotty, quiet times when it's not so spotty. And what we want to know really is to understand what drives that cycle. Why does the sun have times of spottiness and blankness? And getting up to the poles of the sun, where fluid is moving, where plasma is moving to, we think will help us understand ultimately what drives that cycle, that solar cycle. So there are important informations. And then another thing that's really exciting for me is that the sun is a magnetic object, and we've made observations of the sun's magnetic field from the Earth perspective. But I want to know, what does the magnetic field look like at the poles of the sun? And then once we can get those images, we can build up a three-dimensional map of the sun's magnetic field. And that's also linked to the solar cycle as well. So it's discovery science. I mean, it might sound quite simple, but seeing the poles of a star up close is going to tell us lots of information about how the sun operates as a sphere of gas, of magnetized gas in the solar system.
So actually, we are talking about the comet tonight, and I've just thought, so tell us, rather than about the comet, what is the sun's effect on the comet?
That's a really good link. I like that a lot, because comets were used for a long time to help us understand the sun. And in fact, they still are being used to help us understand the sun. So comets are famous, really, aren't they? Because they have these beautiful tails that we can see in the night sky. And the first observations, or earlier observations of those tails, were used to learn about the sun. And it was noticed that some of the tails, because the comet has more than one tail, there's a certain type of tail that always points away from the sun. And that got people thinking maybe there was an outflow of material from the sun that was pushing the tail out. And those early thoughts ended up becoming a scientific area where we discovered something called the solar wind. So this wind of magnetized gas flowing away from the sun that's acting on the comet's tails. So for people who are able to go out and see Comet NEOWISE, and you're looking at this comet, what's being produced is a consequence of the sun. So you've got this giant icy, dirty iceberg that is the comet flying through the solar system. It made a close approach to the sun, it heated up, gases and bits of dust came off, and then the solar wind blows those particles out into the solar system. And I have a colleague a couple of colleagues who were using tails of comets through the solar system over many years to act as wind socks blowing in the solar wind, and they use them as a way to kind of probe the solar wind in parts of the solar system that we don't have any spacecraft, which is most of the solar system, because it's an enormous place. So comets are intimately linked to the sun. They're formed out of the same material that ultimately the sun and all the planets form from, this huge cloud of gas and dust that collapsed to form the planets in this and the objects in the solar system, including the sun, and the tails themselves now are a response to heating of the sun and the outflow of the solar wind.
Wow. Okay, that's it. I love the windsock analogy. We've just had Ashley ask Lucy, how fast is a comet moving?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I should know the answer to that. I mean, it'd be millions of miles an hour. I don't know the precise number. I'm
sure one of the SPA professional astronomers will be commenting away there. They're very avid on the comments there, Lucy. You'll be corrected very soon, I'm sure. Good. Now, I am really big into not only diversity in astronomy, but getting children into astronomy. Now, there are going to be so many children around the world gawping upwards at that comet, and I know they're going to get hooked on space. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I think you can't beat seeing an exciting event like that with your own eyes. And comets are relatively rare to be seen with just your eye, just the unaided eye. So, and I remember probably the last good one I saw was, 20 years ago, long time ago, and it still stays with you. I remember seeing it in the night sky and watching it night after night. And then you start thinking, what is it? How, what are these objects? And then you start learning more. And as you learn more, you ask more, and you start questioning more. And I think that's a really important thing to do.
So how can we get kids into astronomy who might be looking at that comet and wanting to take it to the next step?
Yes, well, definitely. I mean, there's lots and lots of resources online, but definitely contact us at the SPA and we can help you. I mean, I think the best thing is to go out at night and look. So if you're a child, get your parents or another family member or a friend and go outside and start learning the constellation, so you can start to navigate your way around the night sky. And then you can start to see when things are changing. So maybe the moon is here in one night, here in the sky on one night, and then it's moved the next night and the next night, and you can start to track things. So I would get familiar just with the unaided eye, and then I would see if you could get a pair of binoculars, and then you can start to see more. And so, for example, at the start of lockdown, when Venus was really well placed in the evening sky, I was tracking Venus in my binoculars, and you could just about make out this crescent shape of Venus. And I thought that was really fantastic. And then I think I would upgrade to a telescope if you've got the funds to be able to do that, once you're confident that you know what to look at and you can navigate around the night sky.
Kath, one of our brilliant SPA council members, says Comet NEOWISE has got so many of my friends and their children interested in the night sky. Isn't that lovely?
That is, yeah. I can't wait until it gets dark. I'm dying to go outside and have a look.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Is it dark where you are yet? Oh, no, it's not ready.
No, it's not quite dark yet. Yeah.
So I'm just going to chat about what the benefits of joining the SPA. You can either choose from the standard membership, which is £23 a year, and excellent value, we hasten to add, don't we, Lucy?
That's a bargain.
It is a bargain because you get access to the meetings, or at least you did. You get exclusive video content, and you get the magazine, which comes out every 2 months, which is a magazine that you can contribute to. I love that magazine. I normally have a copy to wave around, but I don't have it here today.
It's a really good magazine. It's got loads and loads of articles and stories in there. I mean, it is jam-packed with really interesting information. And so for £23 a year, just for that magazine alone, I think that's an absolute bargain.
And also it's voluntary as well. The editor, Robin, edits it. We're looking for an editor, to my knowledge. That vacancy still exists. So if you want to get into astronomy publishing, get volunteering to publish that. It's a labour of love, but, poor old Robin's having to do it.
But it is good, isn't it? A lot of people I know, you learn new skills by volunteering and doing these sort of community activities, and who knows where it will take you. I mean, Emily Baldwin, who was involved in the SPA for a long time, she's very senior in the European Space Agency on the side of communications and public engagement. So everything, she was able to practice at the SPA. She's gone on and used working for the European Space Agency. You never know where it will take you.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, that's why I'm doing this, to be fair, Lucy. It's my little stepping stone. Who knows who might see me on that global playing field. Then let's talk about the young Stargazer. This is for those aged up to 15 or the junior members aged 15 to 17. Now, this is £17 a year, and it's a great gift for a kid, isn't it, Lucy?
It is. I think it's the kind of thing that makes a great birthday present, great Christmas present, and it's just a really nice, gift to give somebody that can have a lifetime impact. It's not something that's, played with for a while and then is gone. It can have a really significant effect on people and can affect, what they end up doing when they're older. If you generate an interest in science and technology and engineering, some people like to make their own telescopes. Astronomy is an amazingly versatile subject. You could be, being an artist, drawing what you see, an engineer building the kit, scientist investigating the night sky and the objects you see. There's so many possibilities.
And I think there's only 16% of girls are in space-related job roles, so get your daughters into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to see those young women, young female astronomers of the next generation coming through. Absolutely. It's always encouraging, and it is for everybody. It always has been. It should be for everybody. And people shouldn't be put off by thinking, oh, it's a subject for men only or for a certain, part of society. That's not the case. And given that we can get out and look for free, that, it's so accessible. It should be so accessible for everyone.
Excellent. Oh, well, Lucy, it's been nice to meet you, and it's coming. Not crater or potato, that was the other week. Crockery or rockery. Paul Sutherland has come up with these. This was not my idea. I don't know where on earth he came up with rockery or crockery from. I bet he wrote a big long list of rhyme. I have got it. Crockery or rockery.
Yeah. The pun came and then he turned it into a game.
Yeah. Which came first, the game or the name? Right. Are you ready?
Oh gosh, yes.
Round now. I've not been keeping score. It's arbitrary, but it's exciting. Okay, here we go. Framcalla, crockery or rockery?
Ooh, it sounds like a cake, but that's not on the list. So I'm gonna go rockery.
No, it's some kind of spoon, probably. Torvinder. Oh crikey, that sounds like rockery to me too. Well done. So we got that one right. Well done. I'm keeping a very arbitrary tally here. Thornquist, rockery or crockery, Lucy?
Well, I've had two rockers. I'm going to go crockery this time.
That's rockery.
Oh.
It's tough, isn't it? Gladelig, crockery or rockery?
Let's go back for rockery.
Lucy, honestly, your reputation as an astronomer is fading here, I'm afraid. And we'll have one final one. Vaculic.
That's got to be rockery.
Well done. She's a winner.
We go out on a high.
Well done, Lucy. Well, I'm going to let you go and will you be imaging the comet tonight, do you think?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to get my binoculars out again. I don't know if I'm going to take my telescope out tonight. I think I'm just going to give a go with the binoculars, and then if I have success with that, get the telescope out tomorrow. So,
oh, look at you. And Mr. Sutherland is saying, you've got me, Lucy.
Yeah, we know, Paul, we know.
We've rumbled in. So usually what happens is I have a couple of days to plan the show, and then the next thing is right, how do I make a name game out of this? So next week, who knows what the show is going to be about, but thank you so much, Lucy. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, great to see you.
Enjoy seeing the comment. Bye, Lucy. Bye. Yeah. Oh, and then she was alone. And then this is it now, my Friday night. I switched the off button on this, and suddenly I just go back to lockdown, and it's like... Right. Well, hopefully next week I won't look like I'm having my mugshot taken. I'll have a slightly more glamorous backdrop. But that was a great show. Thank you, everybody who contributed. We had Robert Walsh from the IAU, Mary McIntyre, astronomer extraordinaire, and of course, Professor Lucie Green, who is our chief stargazer. Right, we're going to be back at 8 o'clock next week. Any other business? Any other business? Any other business? Do join the SPA. It would be fantastic to have you. It's £23 a year. And you get, for me, I know I say this every single week, but it's the community vibe is the most important one for me. Friends are so good for mental health, and astronomy is outstanding for mental health as well. It's why we do it. So keep looking up and stay happy. Become a member of the SPA. Oh, and please like, tag, share this video. Oh, and don't forget, Comet imaging competition. Submit your entries to competition@popastro.com and you could win the most sought after object in the world, an SPA mug. Good night. See you later. Bye. I'm going to go now. I don't like pressing the off button. I really don't. Bye. Ooh, yeah.